Welcome back to our discussion on dreams part number 2 as part of our 10 for 10 Shiur series. Yesterday we started the discussion on dreams and whether or not we should give significance to dreams. And of course all of us do have dreams at times, and sometimes these dreams might seem quite vivid or real, or there might be something which bothers us about the dream. And are we supposed to pay attention to it? Should we be taking it to heart? Should we be taking action from the dream? And so we began our discussion yesterday looking at some of the biblical significance that the Torah plays to dreams. And of course, if you look through the Torah, there are times when dreams are given a lot of significance, like with Joseph, with Jacob. And then we looked at some of the Talmudic discussion, and we saw that really there was no conclusive view as to whether or not we should be taking dreams seriously. Some discussions of the Talmud said that yes, dreams should be taken seriously. Others said it's all utter nonsense. And there was sort of a middle ground which said depending on the type of dream. So today we're going to look at what is Jewish law. How do we codify the concept of the dream? Because that might then give us better indication whether we should take dreams more seriously or whether we can ignore them and just, it's just another part of our daily lives. So the Gemara, in fact, talks about a particular story that occurred. And the Gemara says that there was once a son whose father had passed away, and there was some money which was missing. And the son had the dream, and in his dream, his father came to him and told him where the missing money was. But he did tell him that money had actually been designated for what we call Ma'aser Sheni, one of the particular tithes that we are obligated to give. And supposed to bring it up to Jerusalem, to Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh, at the time, of course, when the temple stood. And the son woke up and he wanted to know, I guess, whether or not he was obligated now to take that money and bring it as a tithing, because of course the details had been correct and accurate. The fact that the father told him where to find the money, and that was proven correct, does he now have to act on the second bit of information that was given to him in the dream? And the Gemara there says no, he doesn't have to do it. And of course showing that there's no real significance needed to be taken. So halakha, Jewish law, in the Shulchan Aruch, it uses the story, and it says that according to Jewish law, he would not have to take the money. And the Gemara goes a step further to say, or the halacha goes a step further to say that even if he had told him, even if the father told his son in the dream that this money belonged to somebody else, they would have no authority if he would take this to a court of Jewish law, and someone would say, yes, I heard you said that in your dream, your father said that you owe me money, and that's in fact true. We cannot use it as a proof, says Shulchan Aruch. Therefore, I guess in a sense, saying that there's no real meaning or significance given to dreams. The problem with that, and as we've seen in the Gemara, that there seems to be a contradiction. Because if you go a little bit later on, about 45 chapters later in Shulchan Aruch, it records another story, which seems to draw the opposite conclusion. It says that if a man had a dream, and in that dream he made a certain oath. So of course in Judaism, making an oath, doing a shavua, saying a shavua, does have significance in Jewish law. And the Shulchan Aruch there says, one second, if you had a dream that you made an oath, so I dreamt that I'm going to never drink wine again, and I said that in my dream. So do we have to, if you wake up and you say, look, I had that very vivid dream that I made such an oath, should we react to it in the sense that, look, maybe I now am obligated to fulfill that oath? So there the Shulchan Aruch says, it brings two opinions. It first says that he should ignore such dreams, and there's no need to worry about it. I guess following the Talmudic views that some of the dreams of those who said that dreams are nonsense. But the Gemara then does say, so the Shulchan Aruch then does give a second opinion, which says that he should go to a Beth Din, to a Jewish court, and have that vow annulled by these judges. There's a process of Hatarat Nadarim, annulling a vow, and the Shulchan Aruch seems to say that that's the opinion that we should follow. And so therefore it seems to give some very strong significance to a dream. If you should take this dream that you vowed something inside the dream and go get it annulled by a Beth Din, surely that gives a lot of weight to what we dream at night. So how do we resolve this conflict? How do we resolve, on the one hand, Shulchan Aruch saying that we don't have to worry about dreams in terms of its halachic significance, in terms of whether I have to pay somebody money, versus it's saying that I should have a dream annulled. So most authorities or commentators want to resolve this by saying depending on the category of dream. Let's split the dreams up into categories. So the Abarbanel, for example, he says that dreams which are pure fantasy or lack cohesion, because of the details that, in a sense, defy the human experience and are not real and have no import, have no significance. So if you're dreaming some crazy things, then it's not really something to be taken serious. However, he says, if you dreams in which a person can see a clear meaning or message, the Abarbanel there says that we should take them seriously. And he says, and the Rabbeinu Bachai and others say that there's sort of three types of dreams. One type is basically caused by what you eat in the day, so by food and digestion. Amazingly, that causes us what we dream. Other is caused by what we think about or what we see during the day, like I mentioned in part 1. So if you've been looking at certain things, watching certain movies or reading certain books or having certain conversations, that could play up into the reason why you dream certain things. However, he says there's another dream caused, a third dream which comes from the soul, and that certainly has merit. And of course, both of these distinctions are similar differences cited by others, but they don't help us necessarily understand which dream did we have. How are we supposed to know, where did our dream come from? Almost like what we said, one of the Talmudic discussions was about some dreams come from angels, some come from demons. How are we to know which one our dream came from? So he also mentioned there are others who do say that some dreams have significance and some don't. This was one of the great scholars from the 15th century, the Tashbetz. He says that how do we now just draw the distinction, the one that I mentioned from Shmuel about the angels and demons. And he says that since we don't know whether a dream is real or not, it falls into a category called safek. It's a doubt. We're not sure if it has significance or not. And therefore, when it comes to matters of Jewish law, we cannot utilize dreams as a sign of this is how the law is, because it's a doubt whether it came from a good source or not. And we know that in monetary laws, when it comes to a safek, to a doubt, we rule leniently. And therefore, if you had a dream that your father came to you and said to you that the money in your bank account that he gave you actually belongs to somebody else, you don't have to act on it according to Jewish law. But when it comes to perhaps what we call laws between man and God, so not financial laws or not monetary laws, but I guess more spiritual laws. In the case like we said, where the person took a vow, I'm making a vow between myself and God. There we usually rule stringently, and so therefore, in a case where the dream is not necessarily about significant effect on another human being, so you can't say, look, I had a dream, and therefore you owe me money, or vice versa, I owe you money. But if it's a dream between you and Hashem, says the Tashbetz, there we can, in a sense, take things more stringently and should perhaps act on it. And I guess this is almost the distinction in the Shulchan Aruch itself. On one hand, the Shulchan Aruch said that we don't have to give money because of a dream, but at the same time we should annul a vow. So this concept really, I guess, of potential danger may help also explain two other areas of Jewish law and give way to dreams, even if they may seem strange in our context. If a person is bothered by a dream and that the person thinks it has significance, there's actually something called the reciter of certain verses in front of 3 of your close friends to nullify or to annul the significance of the dream. Now, of course, this is a very subjective ruling and applies only if you are bothered by that particular dream. And so you say, for me personally, I had this dream which is really bothering me, then you can actually take it seriously and you can do what the Shulchan Aruch says, and there's a particular ceremony or words that you say in front of friends to annul it. The Rambam also says that if a person has a bad dream, you can also take on a fast, even if it's on Shabbos, because if it's bothering you so much on Shabbat that you had this terrible dream, you can in fact fast, and also take it as a sign of perhaps examining your ways or repenting. So, you can use this underlying reason of potential danger as the concept that led to this ruling. So once again, the subjective concept of what a bad dream is up to you, and the ruling may be based on the idea of a potential danger in the mind of the person who had that dream. So in summary, although all dreams in the Torah seem to have had significance, today some dreams may have significance and some may have no significance. And so we have to decide how do we ascertain that. And so therefore there's an agreement on what constitutes a dream of consequence and what the proper reaction is. And as we said, depending on what the dream is, those dreams which are just utter nonsense, which are probably based on what you ate or what you thought about during the day. But if there's some more clear guidance in that dream. There's a message, there's something which is bothering you. Then we look at it in one of two ways. If it's a dream that is asking you to do something halachic, to do something which may require you to have an effect with another person, we don't pay any attention to that. If it's something between you and Hashem, you and God, then you can take measures to annul it. If it's a particular vow like we've spoken about, or if it's something which is really bothering you, so there's something happening in the dream, then you can, as I said, take that particular prayer to say in front of 3 friends, or to take on a fast, which can help nullify if there is any negative message in that dream, and that's how we should react. So if you've had a bad dream, then again it's all subjective, and if you feel it's really, really terrible, there are those steps. I'll probably post in the comments the particular thing you can say for a bad dream, and hopefully that gives you some insight into dreams, and of course recognizing the different categories, and how Shulchan Aruch, how Jewish law would react to some of these dreams, and how we can conduct ourselves if we've had a particular dream that is causing us some concern. Have a wonderful day ahead.